is Ezekiel Bauda Afon. I was born 42 years ago in a place called Mistali here, 9 kilometers from Jos here. That is my village. I attended primary school, I transferred primary school in Mistali, after which I went to Equa Secondary School Miango, but now it is Government Secondary School Miango. After finishing from there, I got admitted into the prestigious School of Basic Studies, Zaria. We have spent 1 year studying there for the preparatory to go to the faculty. After 1 year, I was admitted to read biochemistry in the Faculty of Natural Sciences in the Abuse area. Now, after graduating in 1986, I proceeded straight to the NYC, which, is still 1 year. I did my 1 year NYC in Kano, and specifically where I serve in Kano is the Water Resource and Construction Agency Kano. That's where I serve. That's my primary assignment. After finishing my NYC, I got brief employment to teach at AKCC Kano. I taught for about 1 year. Then after that, I wanted to come home to actually come and look for employment at home. And so I attended an interview with the College of Education Akwanga, where I was interviewed, and I got the employment to teach or to lecture chemistry and biological sciences at College of Education Akwanga. That was in 1987. From 1987 to 1991, I was in the College of Education Akwanga as a lecturer. I rose to the position of Assistant Lecturer 1. While I was there, UNICEF wanted somebody who is a biochemist on the plateau to actually work with them, to assess children nutrition within Plateau, Bauchi, Taraba, and Nasarawa states. So I attended that interview. I was absorbed in that work. So after working with the UNICEF during that time, I wanted to go back to Akwanga, but the Ministry of Health saw it necessary for me to stay in the ministry because I was very instrumental and very, very resourceful in the formulation of surveys, proposal for surveys and researches. So they gave me an offer to that Ministry of Health to come back to work with the ministry. So I immediately left the College of Education under that arrangement, and then I came back to the Ministry of Health here in the Secretariat as Assistant Director of Research and Planning in the ministry. We started working, things I have to do. I was actually involved with a lot of researches, and then that is health system researches, and then management that have to do with health management issues, and also planning generally that has to do with health issues. So I worked there. I worked in the Ministry of Health from 1991 to 2014. Now, and within that period, I rose to the level of a substantive director on level of 16. And then within the period in 2014, considering my wealth of experience and also my performance, the governor appointed me to be the sole administrator or interim administrator in the Shandam Local Government Council. That is the local government area. So I became the interim administrator in Shandam Local Government when the local government councils were dissolved in 2014. So we conducted the elections, for the incoming next administration. So the present local government chairman, they were our products. We conducted elections for their coming in. So after coming back from that assignment, my people home, that's Pengana constituency, had this agitation that I should actually come and represent the constituency in the House of Assembly. So the thing started as a joke. A lot of people are coming, influx of youth, men, women, associations, elders were just trooping into the office that I should have been. So I didn't want to actually say yes or no. I told them to give me time to study about what they were presenting to me. So after some time, I prayed over it, and my family also were involved in the decision making, especially my wife. We were discussing and also praying over it, my pastor. And even my relations at home were involved in the decision making, in this respect. And so eventually I made up my mind. I said, let me actually obey the call of my people. So eventually I agreed. So I went into the contest, and graciously, by God's grace, I went in. I started, during the primaries, the primaries for PDP primaries, I actually got the mandate during the primary elections. And then we started the journey towards the general elections. And then, by God's grace today, I am singing the song of success, of victory. God has given me the victory. Now I'm not the elected member, to represent my people under the, umbrella of People's Democratic Party, PDP. Being a civil servant, when I was in the Ministry of Health, I was completely a civil servant. And by assessment and by number of years of service, I was almost clicking about 35 years of service when I retired to join politics. And the civil service is such that it's an organ. It's a system that grooms you to actually challenges of life. If you're a civil servant, in fact, you're a politician in prison, because there is nothing that is done in politics that you are not aware. In fact, when politicians come and stand on the drum, they say, vote this, vote this, vote this, vote this. They continue to become party. They play their politics on the drum. At the end of the day, they're elected. Now, who does the political work? Who actually moves the manifestos? Who anchors the manifestos so that people will actually get the dividend of democracy? Who implements the manifesto? Who works with the government when the government comes on board? When the people are elected and they come to sit down for business, who actually works with those people? Is the civil servant. He's a person who pushes the manifesto. He's a person who actually sees the manifesto and actually drives the manifesto to fruition. He actually coordinates a lot of things for the government. Okay? And the success of the government completely rests on the civil servant. So the civil servant is the politician. So because you mingle with the politicians, you do a lot of things, and the politicians depend on you to actually give the dividend of democracy to the populace. So actually, from civil service, I learned a lot of antics, a lot of intrigues, political intrigues, and the rest of them. We mingled with the politicians. We actually went to the grassroots. We did a lot of things, in terms of projects, in terms of activities, in terms of liaising with the people to know what we are supposed to do to the people, even in terms of projects and also other activities. So we, not that I came into politics just as a novice, but when you once you're a civil servant at a certain level, in fact, you are a politician in principle. Because even at home, if they're doing politics, at that level, maybe a director or a permanent secretary, they must look for you to come and meet with them and discuss certain things in politics. And sometimes at home, sometimes you discover people at home, when the politicians are talking at home, if you're a director or maybe a permanent secretary at the civil service level, in fact, the people at home will tell the politicians, we want to see Mr. A at home before we know what to say. We want him to be there. That's all talking about integrity. So the civil servants, at home, they control a lot of grassroots politics because of your integrity. So I left with my integrity in the civil service and jumped into the political arena. And so that's why I was able to be accorded this acceptability, among some of my people. And today I'm not a flag bearer or a elected member. We're going to the House of Representatives to represent them. And they're happy, very, very happy to see me representing them. Politics, the civil servants, or the civil service as an organ in every state of the federation, in Nigeria, in Plateau inclusive, you discover that the civil service or the civil servants play a very vital role in the politics of any state. Why? Because the civil servants form a bulk of population, okay, within the setup of the state. And sometimes when it comes to politics, you discover that the civil servants, how do they play their role? And how effective are they in politics? How do they move the political thread forward? One, as I've told you earlier, sometimes decisions that are made in the various communities at home, at the grassroots, sometimes civil servants go and influence such decisions in politics. And if you see a civil servant as who's a senior civil servant in the secretariat here, a single civil servant who is working in this secretariat, okay, has the capacity of influencing, okay, the decisions of more than 100 people in his village when it comes to politics. You understand? Now, when it comes to, issue of elections like this, now, sometimes when, it is about 6 months and civil servants are not paid. Now, I know it's because of certain problems that the government is facing, that up to now, salaries are not paid. Babajan came in with very good, effort to ensure that when he came, he actually got a lot of backlog of salaries that he settled, I think about 18 months. He settled those salaries. And then issue of pension was also there, which he did a lot of work in that. So, civil servants at the moment, towards the election, they were thinking maybe out of the 6 months, maybe something will be paid for them. But if, based on an assessment of the former governor, of the present governor, that's Bauda, since he has not paid a single kobo, then that means something must be wrong. I'm sure it is out of his capacity. In fact, he doesn't have the capacity to do that. That's the reality. If not, if somebody is approaching elections like this, very important election like this, and the issue of salaries have not been paid, I'm sure it is not his making. It might be something that is beyond his capacity to control, and it's something that is of necessity that he has not been able to do it. Otherwise, I'm sure, even if it's 2 months or 3 months, he will have paid that salary, just to ensure that he motivates the civil servants to go out and campaign for the success of this election. That is very, very critical. But since I have not paid it, I cannot comment very much on that, because whoever wears the shoes knows where the shoes is spending much. So I cannot talk on behalf of the government, but I know something must be wrong somewhere. Maybe it's something beyond his control that he has not been able to demonstrate. So actually, to me, the issue of lack of payment of salaries, to some extent, to a very great extent, actually affected the performance in this election. At least that's my own belief, and that's my own assessment.
Okay.
Well, the general election, INEC, yes, last election in 2011, actually, for instance of assessment, I could see the performance of INEC, the variance, the differential. It seems to be there. I feel they perform better in 2014 than this time around. But the overall performance in terms of the prudence and also the transparency for the election, in fact, is better, was better than this year. Why am I saying this? When the issue of this card reader issue started, which actually culminated to the suspension of the election, as if INEC was not ready. There was this argument, yes, the election, instead of conducting the election on the 14th, it has shifted to the 28th. And then people are explaining what is wrong with INEC. Why are they not conducting the election at the time? Are they not ready? Fixing an election and then shifting it to another date, in fact, creates mixed feeling in the minds of people, as if some people are trying to bring some gimmicks, they are trying to bring some arrangements to favor either a particular party or to favor some place. So actually, those mixed feelings were there. So the general statement or the general assessment that I have is that during the election, when the elections were being conducted, this scenario where, Nigerians were told INEC was ready to conduct this election with card readers. And card readers, a lot of time what was taken for INEC to actually deal with this issue of card readers. And Nigerians were told that issue is finished. INEC is ready to conduct the election. The machines are there on ground. Everything has been perfected to conduct the elections with card readers. Along the way, when these card readers came, and then they were being operated, for the conduct of the election, most of them didn't perform. There were a lot of problems, a lot of challenges with these card readers. Some of them you cannot even boot, they were not booted. Some of them, as if the information, installed in those listening, they were wrong. A lot of problems in our rural areas. In fact, card readers were unable to even record or assess more than 10 people. Problems were there all over the place. In fact, this card readers issue in Nigeria brought a lot of problems during this election. At the end of the day, this card reader brought actually ushered in a lot of electoral malpractice. Electoral malpractice took place in this election. Seriously, I have to tell you this. Which, whether we like it or not, there were a lot. It created a lot of people doing whatever they wanted to do. Okay? So at the end of the day, when we were actually operating issue, Nigerians are by convention, we are supposed to carry that by standard. But immediately on the spot, when we actually got this issue of carry that, there was an instruction that if the carry that cannot function, you go for manual. Since the standard was for this, and since we had a problem, in fact, it was not supposed to be instructed at the spot that you should actually conduct this. Time will have been given again to actually study the situation and say, okay, since that is the problem, let us actually study the situation and still do this. But not because the directive at that time actually made people to actually did a lot of nasty things. A lot of nasty things. So people are saying, is it reader machine or is it manual? Is it manual or is it reader? There was integration of a lot of things. There was confusion all over the place. And that made the election to actually had a scenario of non-transparency. A lot of SPOs did what they would do. Even agents were doing what they would do. Even electoral officers were doing whatever they felt they would do. Even electorates, public, they were even doing whatever they could do. Decisions were made based on whatever the decision suits you, not suiting INEC. So to me, the transparency, the total transparency during this election was lacking. And it ushered in a lot of nasties, a lot of electoral malpractices took place, which INEC did not address those areas very well. And we are actually living by those experiences, which to me, they are not good experiences for Nigerians at all. So I hope that in the next election, INEC should actually be very responsive to what has happened in this election and actually stand up for the correction. By 2019, we have very decent and transparent election. That's my candid opinion.
Okay.
No, in this election, people were apprehended. This is an election that took place where people were forced to do what they did. Many people forced to do what they did. Yes, a lot of in some places, I have that as in some places, some agents refused to sign certain things because they saw what happened. So they didn't want to be part of those nasty deals or nasty happenings that were taking place. So some of them refused to sign. And let me tell you, it is this time that I actually witnessed and I saw situations where people were lured, where people were forced, even with guns, machetes, daggers, and the rest of them, even at the point of their lives, to do what they should not do, they should have not done. They were forced to do certain things. And so this issue of people coming up with serious aggression, that they wanted this to be done in this election at all costs, if you don't eat it at the cost of your life. Those things happen in some villages. The security were not actually living to their responsibilities, I'm telling you. I am an aspirant. I witnessed where security were just actually doing what they could do as if they were paid to do their job by either PDP or APC. They were not doing their professional work correctly. They were being bought over at the cost of the highest bidder. That was the type of security profile we had in this election. So, whatever happens, upon all the flaws, by the assessment by the what do we call it, United Nations?
Yeah,
EU. While if they are saying the election is fair and they are still saying there were some flaws, then how fair is the election? Because it's a fairest election. Not thinking that the election is fair and yet there are flaws. What are the flaws? Let them define the flaws, and they discover that the flaws will even override the decency that was observed in that election. So if you go to in-depth analysis, you discover that the overall, even the European Union, they will eventually assess it as if the election was not as fair as we are thinking about. Personally, to me, there were a lot of things that I observed as a candidate in this election, which I have to say it. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. So as the tribunal is being inaugurated today, the tribunal they were faced with a lot of issues coming off, agitations, ill-feeling coming from people who are trampled upon, and people who have been affected by the wind of agitation by other people who wanted to do things at their own level, what they wanted to do. So they were faced with a lot of presentations, a lot of things coming from people for address. So let them be resolute and also have the decorum of sincerity and fairness, in their minds, to ensure that they address issues that are coming before them squarely and with sincerity of purpose to correct certain things that have been damaged during this election. My people are very happy, as I've told you before. My people are very happy that I'm a member. In fact, the agitation came from them in the first instance, as I've told you. Yes, when they made that agitation, I actually accepted their submission. And behold, I'm a product of the decision of my community. Though I have an interest, I cannot say totally I don't have an interest, because if I don't have an interest, then I'm joking. Today I've emerged as a candidate or as a legislator, okay, or as a lawmaker representing my people. That's Pingana constituency. The expectation is high because once people feel you can do it and they have that confidence in you, once the chips are down and it's a reality, people are always having high expectation. The excitement is there from my people. They want to see the difference that I can create, okay? Vis-a-vis those people that have actually done this in the past. So everybody is opening, he has his, his or her eyes is wide open, the ears are open, the brain is also open, to see what Mr. Afon is going to do this time around that has given the mandate. And these people have been saying he's this, he's that, he can do this, he can do this. So let us see the how it can conform to the to the expectation of the people. Actually, my my desire is to comprehensively serve my people to the best of my ability, to the capacity that I'll be able to anchor in my mind to serve my people holistically, to ensure that my people are actually represented, what it means to represent people. I want to actually do that for my people with all my 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 health, all my strength, and all my ability. I want to anchor my representation in truth, righteousness, and justice. That's my watchword, and I want to do that with the belief that I will work with the people, take not everybody alone, but at least work with the people. You know, so that each decision I want to take, I want my people to be involved in the decision making, and I also want to ensure that I open room for criticism, not any criticism, but constructive criticism. My doors are wide open, you know, for people to come in, you know, to dialogue with me, to give me input, you know, what I will present in the House of Assembly. I will not do it alone, I want to do it with my people. There are a lot of agitation, a lot of issues, a lot of developmental issues, a lot of issues I have with communities, you know, a lot of things that people want to make sure that at least their lives become better, and people are actually re-engineered, you know, to conform with the global scenario. That's what my perspective is, to ensure that I have a very perfect responsibility to ensure that I participate in good legislation that will actually transform the state to the next level, to ensure that my people live, their lives become better through concrete, concise, precise, and modern legislation, to ensure that whatever be the needs of my people, I will actually lobby very well, you know, to the government of the day, to ensure that those things that my people want, you know, within the period I'm going to be in the House of Assembly, I will make sure that they get them, if not all, at least to a very good percentage before I leave office. My aspiration, my ambition, my desire is to see that by the time I'm leaving office, at the expiration of my tenure, I want to see at least 90% of the people in my constituency smiling that they have a representative that actually work for them and they're happy. That even if I want to go back for the second time, I will not even print posters. In fact, the legislation will just go on, continue for us. That is my desire.